So, new season of Marvel Rivals has come out. You want to know how to play Mr. Fantastic? I show you with some tips and tricks that you can use, and also some way of managing your elasticity, your abilities, and how you approach the other team and your team. Now, in the first part, I will give you the minutes. You can skip it if you already know the abilities. Otherwise, just listen to it and I show you and explain to you the abilities. But we'll see them together in the long run. Now, there will be the second part of the video where I show you how to use the abilities, how to approach the other teammates, and how to approach the entire match as Mr. Fantastic. And that's very, very important because there are some things, maybe I think too much things, that are not explained in other videos. First and foremost, I show you in a very quick way how the abilities work. So we press F1, we see all the abilities. The main thing that you need to remember about Mr. Fantastic is that all your actions are built up upon the elasticity strength. So your passive is that every time you use an ability like flexible elongation, distended grip, and also stretch punch, you'll get some elasticity out of it. Reflexive rubber doesn't do that, and also Brainiac Bounce, which is your ultimate, doesn't do that. So remember, there are only 2 abilities plus the stretch punch. One cool thing is that elasticity, it gives you a huge amount of shield, and also it gives you so much damage and a little bit of speed. I saw that I can get pretty easily to people that are running away from me. I don't know if it's range, because you have still range, but you can get, you know, pretty close to people. The cool thing is that the shield, it doesn't, you know, stack up, so it always resets every time you trigger the elasticity, and you can trigger it how many times you want as soon as you reach 100. Now, one good thing that you need to know is how the abilities work. So, the standard grip is you elongate your arms, you grab people, you put them towards you, and you do damage. The flexible elongation, it gives you the possibility to get to the teammates or the enemies, attach to them, give shield to the teammates, or damage the other surrounding enemies when you get to one of the enemies. And it has 2 charges. The standard grip only has 1, and it can grab 1 people or 2 people and close them together. Now, reflexive rubber is your defensive stance, so you use it to defend yourself, and also use it as a prepare to dive type of ability. Brainiac Bounce, we'll see what it does, but basically you bounce around, you do damage in an area, and you can extend it the more you get people, up to 6 times. The Wedded Harmony is very good because it generates lost health, so bonus health for him and Invisible Woman, so it's very, very good, and it gives you a huge amount of resistance rather than not having it. So if you have Invisible Woman, try to pick him because he's fantastic, as the name says. With the Invisible Woman. Now, I'll show you how to use the first thing, which is elasticity. This is very important. Elasticity is a resource that you need to use as soon as you get it, and you need to be having elasticity constantly up to 70, 72, depends on how much you can get out with your abilities that remain to you. So the E and the right click. How do we build elasticity? What you need to do is, in every match, as soon as the match starts, and as soon as you don't encounter the other enemies, you'll just spam your E on one of your teammates to get up to 30 elasticity, and then as soon as it gets down, you'll do it again to keep the cooldown, you know, on a good rotation. When it's a defensive match or an attacking match, as soon as you get them, you'll have like 80 elasticity. But this what gives you? It gives you an advantage because you already have elasticity built up, and it lets you have more shield than what you usually have when you have, you know, normal amount of health and you didn't use your ability. Now, don't worry about how many you can use them, because if you have, you know, 70, not 89, but even 70, you can get as soon as you use it into the big thingy, which is the it's the state of Mr. Fantastic, and there you can do a lot of damage. Now, how do we use it? We use mainly the ability if there is a huge amount of people that are shooting, there's a huge fight going on. You just, you know, pick around and try to get them. Now remember, when you get people, you can drag your mouse. As soon as your cursor stays on them, you can do quite a huge amount of damage. because it gets every people that are there, and it builds up a lot of elasticity. So remember, when you use Mr. Fantastic, just aim for not only one target, but if there are more than one close, aim for more targets, because that's the way he deals really a huge amount of damage. Single target, he can deal a huge amount of damage, but because he has a lot of time to get killed and a lot of resistance, and it only can deal it in the big form. In the normal form, aim for multiple people. Now I show you how to use it. Now, if there is a huge amount of team fight going on, the team is there, you can't really get onto them and using the ability. You just build up your elasticity with your teammates, so do not trigger it before you're on the other side, but just use it, try to trigger it, also use the other click, so the right click, to get people. If you don't get them, it's not a problem. Usually the optimal way is to try to get them. If you don't get them, don't worry, you'll just build elasticity, get to them. As soon as you get to an healer, so only aim for the healer first, try to get them, and remember that when you are in this big form, every attack that you do actually can hit multiple people, like this attack. So if you do this, you can hit multiple people, but if you get into the big form, and now I will show you, you can do this and you can actually hit multiple people. So this is very, 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 very useful. Remember to you always do that, and try to, you know, train yourself to swipe a lot with your mouse and try to get as many people as you can, and be constant with how you position your cursor, because that's very important. This is one way to attack. The other way is to get into the fight when your team is closing up on the other one and you're getting close to them. You can get into the fight and actually don't use it only your teammates. If they have the need of shield, use it, but if you can see some of them, go into them, use it. Remember to don't have everyone looking at you, because you will need some time to build up your elasticity, and then as soon as you get up, go for the squishy targets, go for the healers in the first time, and try to get them as soon as you can. Now, a cool thing about Mr. Fantastic is that he's a good, extremely good counter against people with shield. So Doctor Strange and Magneto can get pretty fucked, because if they have the shield up and you just punch them, also I think Captain America, you'll just get over the shield and you will deal a lot of damage. So when you're in a big form, they will try to get away from you because you're pretty scary and they don't want to be near you. Now, your main priority is hitting healers. So you have your thing that is building up, you get to them, you use one of your abilities to get to 100. Remember to have the abilities ready, like Black Panther, okay? So don't go without the abilities that are ready to be used. And as soon as you get to the 100 part, you get already on the targets. There are the squishy targets and the healers, firstly and mainly the healers. And I assure you, you will do so much damage and you will change how the team works, their team works, because you'll get two healers, they'll panic, they'll go back, they'll try to focus on you. Your team can get enough distraction to do enough damage. And remember, if you die, it's not a problem as long as you do a good job on killing them and also distracting them for a huge amount of time so that your team can get onto you and then kill them. Now, if you're on the other part and things are getting pretty squishy, so you get low on health. I will try to show you, but I don't think I can get low on health on this map, so I will just, you know, fake it and be low health. Now, you're low health, you're just doing damage, okay? You see you're low health, use your button to get out of the form, the huge form, and actually use the shift, because I see many people that they go into the team fight, okay, they have a huge amount of health, like they see like 100 health because you have a health plus shield. Now what you need to do is to get here and please watch out for your health, because if they focus on you they can get very aggressive, and if you do this you get at least the time to get back and regroup with your teammate, and also you get some more damage out of it because it actually deals damage back when it's full or it's received enough damage to, you know, shoot actually a projectile that gets to people. Now, how you can use the shift in another way is very useful, because the shift is very good to prepare for a dive. So what you can do is, when you have a lot of people that are shooting in at a point, or they have, you know, a full target, you can do one thing. If they're already shooting, just get into there and use the shift. You'll build enough damage, I assure you, to get back and just hit them with the shift. And try to aim for the squishy targets. Now the other way is, if they're not shooting enough, you'll do, you know, you'll be annoying, you shoot people. This won't happen because I already damaged them. But you'll do, you know, some damage. You just hit them. And they'll start to shoot at you. Then you can use your shift, build up, shoot at one squishy target, get into that, and then try to finish it. And then get back to your teammates if it's necessary. Now, another cool thing that you can do is grab some people with this, and if they're tank and they are pushing like Thor and also Doctor Strange, you get this, and when they're pushing, you try to get them out of their team healing zone. So if they're pushing, you grab them and you try to get them as far away from the team as possible, so that you can do a lot of damage to them and negate some of the healing. So it's very good to out-position people and grab them and get them to you. Now, this is very useful for targets like Iron Man, because if Iron Man is very up in the sky, and also like Storm or I don't know, maybe Iron Fist, because Iron Fist can get up and stay there with the E. You can grab them and you can try to get to them. So remember that you can use it to grab people and get them out of position. That's very, very important. Out of position when you know, they have a diving type of characters. So remember Captain America, Venom is pretty huge on diving, and also Hulk is pretty huge on diving. Remember to use it, and if they have a shield like Hulk, remember to deactivate, or Magneto, deactivate it, because you need to wait a little bit. If they use the shield, they can actually negate your control, so they can, you know, detach themselves, and you won't be able to grab them and get them away. Remember always to have them in line of sight, otherwise they get out of the range. And also remember that all your abilities are just there to get you to have survivability and also get you elasticity. So if it's not necessary and you don't like need to do it, but you know, you don't have enough elasticity, just use this ability even if it's not the right time, because it will give you 30 elasticity, and then you can grab some people and get pretty quick and get, you know, in the huge ult form and, you know, beat up people. Now let's talk about the ultimate. The ultimate is very difficult to use, because most of the people don't know really how to manage the bounces and how to manage it in a useful way. Remember, your first targets are squishy people, but the first and foremost targets are the healers. So always get on the healers. Just pick with your teammates. You have enough tanky builds and you know, abilities to get there. If you see also the mines of if you see Penny Parker mines on the ground, you can actually get onto them, let them burst out, and then shoot the other guy or someone that is there with the damage that you saved from your teammate. Your shift, you can use it to parry like most of the high dealing damage abilities. So as soon as you see a ultimate from a DPS, try to use it instantly, and then try to play around with getting shields every time you can, as soon as possible. When there is a huge DPS ability, do not focus on the enemies, but focus on the other teammates of you, because they can get shields and they don't deal damage to you. You're not into the enemy lines. Now, how to use the Q? The Q is very important, because you can do a bunch of stuff with it. You can use it to bounce around, because you have 3 guaranteed bounce. So if you use it, I'll show you. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I have 3 guaranteed bounce. If you have 3 guaranteed bounce, you can get to high places, and you can use it to move it. So Moving with the Q is very, 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 very important. Many people don't do it, they just use it to try to deal damage, but the Q doesn't do that much damage. It's much more a mobility type of ability and a survivability ability. So it's very good at diving, mobility and survivability, not that much on damage. So what you want to do if your teammate is very far away from you because you dive too much, or you like got killed and you're coming back and you see there is a squishy situation where a little bit more damage or distraction could get your teammates to win the fight, you use your Q in advance, you'll do so many meters with it, then as soon as you get to the other teammates, so the other squad, you can actually, in this case I got stuck up there, but you can actually use it to get like another bounce on them, and then another one, and then up to 6 bounces, and maybe kill someone. It will be like difficult to kill someone, but you can actually do it, and it will kill the squishy targets that are getting away. So just use it to mobility ability and to help your team when there is help needed. Now, remember, do not bounce around that much. If you're bouncing on them and you're doing up to the whole 6 bounces, because you're getting into a whole team fight, you'll bounce around in a circle type of way, because if you bounce around in a straight line, okay, they'll try to get to you, and they'll try to kill you. If you bounce in a circle, they will get distracted and they will have a much difficult time getting to you. So remember to do that. Also, this ability can be used for diving. So you're in a normal fight, you have the ability, you just use it, okay? You dive in, you get behind. Remember to go to a place where there are no people so you can deactivate. As soon as it's deactivated, get back to the healers, do your ability, get the elasticity, and then as soon as you're big, you can actually do a huge amount of damage, and you can try to kill them as soon as possible. Okay, so basically, let's do a recap. His mobility is very, very good. You need to have your elasticity always up, so use your teammates, shield them, or use it to deal damage to the other ones, but don't do a dive without thinking about how much damage you're going to receive. Have the elasticity always up and try to be, you know, very good on how you use it, and use your elasticity at maximum only where you're near your targets that you want to kill, and when you're near a huge fight where you are not the main target, then you can do a lot of good damage. Remember to practice swiping. So when you swipe, okay, remember to keep your momentum and your cursor on the middle. Do not get it low. A trick that you can use if you have some difficulties in doing this is lowering your sensitivity. So I show you how. If you're a brawler, always have a pretty high sensitivity, even if you're used to a low one, because you'll need it to turn around very, very fast, because all the action is very close to you, so the time they get to get out of your face is very, very low. So in this case I have 3, but my mouse is very high on the PI, so I can get, you know, pretty quickly around. Now if you go to Mr. Fantastic, you'll see that I lower the vertical sensitivity because I don't need the vertical sensitivity that much. I just need it a little bit lower so that my, you know, vertical aim is much more stable than the horizontal one. And that's where we do a lot of damage, okay? So just lower the vertical sensitivity, try it. As soon as you get a stable and comfortable position, you get people out of the way with this one. Now, I think I explained everything you can know about Mr. Fantastic. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching the video. If you're not already subscribed, please feel free to subscribe and drop a like. It will help greatly the channel. I will put out much more in-depth type of guides, and if you need some ways to make me explain the guides, I will explain them to you, and I will show you how to use the heroes that you want me to explain to you in a pretty good way. Now the next one will be about Loki, so if you're interested, stay tuned, subscribe, give it a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for staying, and goodbye. Have a good Marvel Rivals match.